if you remember your 2-letter Holland code, SE, which reflected your career interests as social and enterprising, I would now like to invite you to a reflective process over those interests. So I need you to have the codes and their meaning in mind, and then I'm going to ask you some questions. How does that sound to you?
That sounds good.
That's good. Hopefully this process can help us make better sense of your codes and what they ought to signify for you, which would then help you be better prepared to make that decision you need for a transition towards a more meaningful career. So with your code being SE, how would you explain each of your letters?
So S, I would see as someone that is obviously very social, really enjoys that human interaction, whether it's in their work life or home life, in different roles, and I'd see it as like a counsellor or a teacher, something where that they really, that social connection is quite strong.
Yeah.
And then with E, I would see that as someone who, like in sales or even politics, where they're driven by sort of that leadership or influence, but also, like statistics or sales, like numbers, KPIs.
Yeah.
Maybe someone that would really enjoy working for themselves and like the business components and things like that.
Yeah. So it sounds like you've got a pretty good understanding of what each of your types look like and what sort of careers might align with each of those interest areas.
Yeah.
So how would you explain the order of your 2-letter code?
Well, the order, it's quite spaced apart. My social score was quite high, and then my enterprising, it was a bit lower. So the order definitely was not a surprise. I think it makes a lot of sense. I'm very social, not only at work, but in my personal life and, the roles that I have in my personal life.
Yeah.
And then the enterprising though was a little bit surprising. I just didn't think it would come up as my second letter. So that was a bit of a surprise.
So you align really strongly with the social type then, and that was no surprise for you at all, showing up first. The E being your second dominant type was a little bit more surprising, since it doesn't really show up as evidently in your life as your S does.
Yeah, that's right.
And I noticed you also scored 0 for each of the other categories. Was that surprising to you at all?
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to be so, I guess. No, I can't remember the questions, but so strong on not being interested in the other things.
Yeah.
I think I kind of had my work hat on, and I was like, no, that's not something I would want to do, and was thinking of it in terms of careers rather than maybe what the actual things were, the questions were. But yeah, I definitely found it interesting that they were all 0, and I only got the 2 letters instead of the 3.
Yeah. So in terms of work, it is actually quite representative of your specific interests in what kind of career you gravitate towards, even though it was a bit of a different score. I'm wondering now, if you were to locate your letters on a scale from 1 to 10, with 1 being least important and 10 being most important, where would you locate the first letter and the second letter of your code?
I think, S, with a strong score, definitely 10. And like I said, very, very much aligned with that response. I was like, that makes a lot of sense. And then E, I guess obviously this is making me reflect a bit more. So I at first I was like, this doesn't really make sense. So I probably would score that like a 3. Yeah. So
it's very clear that being social is very central to who you are as a person, and it's what really drives you in your work and really energizes you. Even compared to where you did rank your enterprising side, which was your second highest interest area. That's also very consistent with your mini IPIP results, where you scored very strongly on extroversion. Now that you have ranked your letters, can I ask, how do you interpret their location on the scale? So for example, how close they are together, evenly spaced or far apart?
So I think it definitely, like, my actual score and how I interpret it marry up quite well, just because I do have that strong social and extroverted personality. But then I do see how the E kind of fits in, especially with being in the call center, and I am kind of, I guess it'd be more my motivators. I am motivated by the KPIs in the call center, because I want to do a good job and I want to hit those marks. So although initially I didn't really identify or make a connection with it, in terms of my motivation, I go, oh, actually, that I can see how that's sort of come in.
So although they are quite spaced apart on that scale, it is actually very similar to your actual scores for those types, and it's very well aligned to how you would rank yourself. And you've identified that they both show up, S definitely a lot more, but even your E shows up quite a lot through your work. In what ways would you say the first letter of your code is evident in your life?
It's very strong, and I suppose, like you said, the extroversion being in there too probably has made that go up a bit higher. In all aspects, I really enjoy the social side from the call center, because I'm on the phones, I'm talking to people. It's very much a team, like we're a team and you're a part of a team and you're helping each other. And then at home, I'm the one organising the social activities and the get-togethers with friends and family and things like that. It definitely is very obvious that would be my score.
So S really seems to be always connected somehow to whatever you're doing. It sounds like supporting people and just being around people, whether you're at home or in your work, it's really fulfilling for you. I assume that's very much aligned with your high scores on conformity and benevolence for your values. What do you think that says about what matters most to you, or where you naturally shine?
Well, I think I'm a rule follower. I want to help people. I don't like conflict. I think, I shine in an environment where it's like a peaceful environment. I mean, I know you can't be like that all the time, but that's sort of the preference. And I really enjoy helping people. That's definitely something that I think creates a lot of meaning for me, and I enjoy that a lot.
It sounds like you really value that building genuine connections with others, and your strengths really lie in the empathy and warmth, and your ability to relate to others. Those qualities really stand out and are such an asset in any role that involves supporting or working with others, like counselling, as you mentioned, as a possible career path. In what ways would you say your second letter of your code is evident in your life?
I had to think about this one, because I didn't at first. I was like, how's that fit in? But I see it come up in in the team, but I really do enjoy getting good KPIs and working through my work queue really fast. And so I think this process has really made me go to do with motivation, and I guess in a way it does make me does help me want to be better at my job and kind of ties in with everything else. Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting that even though you didn't initially feel that the enterprising side of you was a strong fit, you were still able to recognize how some of those traits show up in your work life. Sounds like aspects like leadership, decision making, and ambition might come into play, especially if it's something that you're really passionate about. Would you say that you're proud of being someone that others can rely on, or someone that can take initiative and get things done?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what I like about myself. And then I can say that I'm proud, to have that ambition and that drive to want to be better, not just as a person, but you know, within the team, or for the customer that's getting that customer support or service from me as well. I think that's definitely a positive quality, or
Yeah, I can tell you really lit up a bit there when you were talking about those qualities. It sounds like being dependable and taking initiative is quite important to you. It definitely fits with how outgoing and action-oriented you are, and connects with your drive to achieve and make an impact, which is also another aligns well with the counselling degree. Although your main strengths are in those S and E areas, can you tell me about any other parts of you, like the practical, creative, or analytical sides that show up as well too sometimes?
I would say the one thing, although I'm not an artistic and creative, I don't see myself as creative. So I wasn't like, when I got 0 on the A, I was like, yeah, that's fair. But then thinking about that question, I feel like where I do have creativity is in my problem solving, in again bringing it back to the people thing, you know. I will have like creative like responses or ideas in the interactions that I have with the customers or within my team, which so I think maybe that would be something that would I align with.
Yeah, so you don't really strongly align with any of the other categories in particular, but some of those elements of those types do come into play sometimes to support your strong social and enterprising types. With S being so dominant, I'm wondering, do you think your personality, like being really outgoing and easier to get along with, makes these roles easier or harder sometimes?
I think both. It definitely is easier because I do want to create that kind of fun, easygoing environment and get everyone together and have that good team vibe sort of within the workplace. And then sometimes it can be quite draining because it's just a lot of energy to have that high energy and whatnot. So sometimes it can be a bit of a negative.
Yeah, it sounds like your social nature really is a strength, almost like a superpower, and how it helps you connect with others and support them. And at the same time, I can hear that constantly showing up that way can be overwhelming and draining. That's such an important insight. What relationships do you see between your 2 letters and various facets of your life, such as your work, learning, and other life roles?
I think they actually kind of work well together, because I've got that social side to kind of work well with people and get people together and get that good team morale. Then I also, like, the E comes in and helps with the motivation and the drive, because then it's like, they're working really well together, and then I think that creates a fun environment and an environment that I want to be in, so that they complement each other.
So S is really connected to all aspects of your life and your work and personal roles, like you said. And some of your E aspects are definitely in your work with the ambition and initiative. So it sounds like they really do come together and complement each other, both playing a role sort of in supporting your motivation and the way you engage with other people. I'm curious now, what personal qualities have you identified in your reflections so far that are important